Beth says she can foretell the future. She sees an evaluation contest coming soon for damn good speakers to help us improve as evaluators and to prepare for the contest. Oh, that's right. Beth has adapted a module from Toastmaster International's Successful Club series. These are 10 to 15 minute presentations addressing the subject of quality meetings and giving members the skills and standards they must strive to achieve for their club to be successful. Beth's presentation, Damn Good Evaluations, very nice title, will share the whys and hows of effective evaluations. In over 30 years as a Toastmaster, Beth has honed her evaluation skills to the point where she has twice won the District 26 Evaluation Contest. Please help me to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Beth Boaz to help us give damn good evaluations.
And you should all have in front of you a handout. And let's see if all right. We're going back in time now. I want to talk about a couple of things today. One is, why are evaluations important? And the other is, how do we give good evaluations? And then at the end, I will talk a little bit about evaluation contests, and we'll predict who will win our evaluation contest. So don't leave early. We all know that evaluations help the speaker to improve. And how do they do that? They do that by providing immediate feedback. While you still remember how you performed, you hear feedback from other people on how well you did. Offering methods for improvement. So not only do you say, you should work on your gestures, but you hear some tips on how you might improve those gestures. And finally, you improve as a speaker because you get some ideas that help you maintain your self-esteem so that you want to speak again and are motivated to speak again. What we might not realize, beyond helping just the person you're evaluating, good evaluations, damn good evaluations, also help make this a damn good club. Maintains a positive atmosphere of excellence. Ooh, that sounds good. Because members are eager to speak. When you know you're going to get an excellent, a damn good evaluation, aren't you more eager to come and speak? Mm-hmm. And doesn't that also make guests more eager to join or rejoin, Ruth Ann? Because they think, I'd like to be a part of this group. And of course, all of that leads to distinguished club, ribbons for our banner, because we have educated members and guests who are eager to join. Damn good evaluations also benefit you as an evaluator. Well, what's with that? It improves your skills in listening, in analysis. You have to listen to a speech and then real quickly analyze what was good about it, what could have been improved. And then you need to be able to state those things diplomatically. It also gives you a chance to practice impromptu speaking. Unlike table topics, you have a little bit of time to prepare and organize, but not very much. All of those, listening, analysis, diplomacy, impromptu speaking, are all elements that make a good leader. And of course, being a good evaluator could lead to trophies, both for speaking and for evaluating. How to give a good evaluation. Now, I'm going to talk today about 4 P's. We're going to check our pronunciation today. So the first step you're going to take is before you even evaluate the speech, and that's the planning step. What are you going to do? You know you're assigned to evaluate. You talk to the speaker, or you at least exchange emails. Tim yesterday came up and said, Beth, what's this weird speech you're doing? And what do you find out from them? What are the objectives? Now, if they're working from one of the manuals, that's pretty straightforward. They can give you the manual objectives. I'm giving a speech focusing on vocal variety or focusing on body language. And then you can look in the manual and see what the evaluation guidelines are. What should you be looking for during that speech? But you might also talk to them about any additional concerns, other things they're trying to work on. Maybe in addition to the manual objectives, they're working on eye contact, or they're working on movement. Something that's not in the manual, but is of a special interest to the speaker. The next P is pay attention during the speech. Duh. A couple reasons for this. One is you're going to show to the speaker that you're interested. You're going to be listening and nodding. Hopefully you're not going to be listening and shaking your head. You're also going to want to take some notes. Be amazed, well maybe it's because I'm one of the old folks here. By the end of a 5 to 7 minute speech you think, that had a really good introduction. It was, I forget. So during the speech I take some notes on things that impressed me for being especially good, or maybe some areas of improvement that I noticed as the speech was going on. So we're going to plan, we're going to pay attention. Next, we're going to prepare. This is what you're doing while everyone else is enjoying table topics. So when preparing your evaluation, there's a few things to think about. One is to look back at your notes. See what you wrote down. Did you notice some really good gestures? Well, that's a good thing to comment on in your evaluation. Did you notice several areas for improvement? That's what you're going to want to put into your evaluation. Beyond looking at your notes, though, take a step back from the speech and look at your overall impression. Overall, if it was supposed to be a motivational speech, were you motivated? If it was to be humorous, did you laugh? Did the audience respond? So look at your overall impression of the speech, not just your specific notes. Some other things, especially if you're kind of stumped, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I've been assigned to evaluate Todd, what am I possibly going to say? Maybe think about, what are some skills that Todd has that you wish you had? Maybe it's his gestures, maybe it's his vocal variety. So think about what they did that you really admire in particular. What would you have done differently? Now notice it doesn't say, what would you have done better? But maybe you would have taken the same material and organized it a little bit differently. Or maybe you would have inserted some other gestures at a certain point or certain pauses. So that's another thing that's good to ask, especially when you're stumped saying, that was a really good speech, what could I possibly say? Don't look at it necessarily as how could they improve, but what might they have done differently? Going back to the objective of the speech, what could they have done that would have motivated you more if it's a motivational speech? Or amused you more if it's a humorous speech? And give some suggestions for what would have really impacted you well. Then, also during the preparation step, take a minute to organize. You're supposed to organize your speech or your evaluation just like a little speech with an opening, a body, and a conclusion. Now, people say we're supposed to use the sandwich method. And that is, you always start with something positive, and then you add some suggestions for improvement, and then you end with something positive. And that's a good way to go. I might make one suggestion, though, which is we might also look at doing it as the lasagna method. And the lasagna method probably starts with something good, but you have lots of little layers within it. Maybe you talk about gestures, and within that layer you talk about some things they did well and some ways to improve. And you talk about vocal variety, and you give some examples of what they did well and some ways they could improve. So you're still having layers of compliments and suggestions for improvement, but they're all layered throughout. Either way, the bottom line is this. Damn good evaluations are upbeat and encouraging while offering suggestions for improvement. You need to have both. Encouraging comments and suggestions for improvement. The final P then is present. First you have to be present, and then you present. So during your evaluation, choose your words carefully so that they are not equivocal. Make sure that the speaker knows exactly what you're trying to say. If possible, illustrate it with specific examples from their speech. Rather than saying, you had some really colorful word use, say, I could really see it when you said that the village was tiny and dusty and dark. So choose the words carefully. Be sure that you're evaluating the speech, not the person. We don't tell someone, you have bad gestures. What you would tell them instead is, here are some ways that we can work on our gestures. And word everything so as to make the speaker want to give another speech. Oh, well, let's look at the other side of the coin then. How not to give a damn good evaluation. These are some pitfalls that I have seen evaluators, not in this club, mind you, but other clubs fall into. 1, spend your entire speech summarizing, agreeing with or disagreeing with the speech content. Oh, I know just what you're saying because I had that same experience and here's what happened to me. Well, maybe that's good for your next speech, but it hasn't really helped the speaker. They hopefully know what they said. Take a judgmental attitude. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. You're not the speech teacher. You're not saying your gestures were good, your gestures were bad. You're offering your own opinions, your own input. Criticize things that can't be changed. Commenting on someone's accent, if they have an accent, or a physical disability, or just that they're too tall to be standing up in front of an audience.
Arms are too long.
Commenting on those things is just going to make them self-conscious and there's nothing they can do about it. Criticizing things without giving a suggestion. Your gestures looked really nervous today. Okay, how do I get over that? Give some suggestions on how they can improve. Finally, and most prevalent, again, not necessarily in this club, whitewashing. That's where you get up and say, this was a great speech, everything about it was great, you met the objectives, it was great, I loved it. Might be true, maybe you did love the speech, but without focusing on something specific. What specifically was good about the speech, then the speaker has nothing to grow from. Let's look a little bit at contests. What's involved in the contest? And you have a copy of this. There are really only 4 items on the ballot for a contest. And they would really fit right along with what we've already been talking about today. In some ways, a contest evaluation is harder. Because typically, the contest speaker is not giving a manual speech. So you don't have those manual objectives to rely on. You just have to go on, was it a good speech? Was it an effective speech? It can be harder because people who are willing to be the test speaker at an evaluation contest are typically pretty good. So you don't have things to say like, oh, you should quit playing with your notes, or some of those obvious things you don't have. I would contend that in some ways, evaluation contests are easier because you probably have not heard this person speak before. So you have no preconceptions. You don't say, that Pete, he always needs to add more pauses to his speech, or whatever. You don't have any preconception, and there being a good speaker is also an advantage because you know, okay, if you have to be a little picky in the evaluation, hey, they're tough, they can take it. The descriptions of those items listed for judging, analytical quality just means, again, were your comments unequivocal? Were they clear and logical? Did you identify their strengths and weaknesses? Were your recommendations practical, helpful, positive? Will they actually help the speaker improve their next presentation? This is the only part, people always think, oh, I'm not a good enough speaker to win an evaluation contest. This is the only part where your speaking technique figures in at all. And it is strictly in your manner. Did you present? It's not, did you speak without notes? It's not, did you use good gestures as an evaluator? It's just, were you sensitive to the feelings and needs of the speaker? Did you inspire and encourage the speaker? So Don't be discouraged from competing in an evaluation contest just because you're not the world's best speaker. And finally, this is my secret weapon in evaluation contests. On the ballot, you get like 15 points. That's 15% of your score just for doing a summary at the end. So when you're thinking about organizing an evaluation, an opening, a body, and a conclusion, this conclusion part in a contest gets you big points. When I'm a judge, I'm pretty cutthroat. If somebody doesn't have a summary, then they get 0 on that part. So as you compete, think that I might be judging, so be sure to have a summary. So in conclusion, go forth, all of you, and give damn good evaluations, and then enter the evaluation contest. And I promised that I would predict right now the winner of the evaluation contest. So the winner of the evaluation contest will be, oh darn, I'm out of time.
Thank you, Beth, for your
Played that, Beth?
excellent.
That's exactly 15.
I was stalling it.